Several Zimbabwean news publications reported on Monday that Brighton Elliot Moyo had passed on following a short illness. According to Malawi24, iharare.com, zwnews.com, and Zimbabwe News, to name a few, Elliot died last week in South Africa and was buried on. The bona fides of these websites were difficult to establish, however. An apparent relative who spoke to H Metro claimed Elliot passed on 3 days after his stomach started swelling. He is reportedly survived by his wife. But people were not convinced about the news reports and took to social media to voice their doubts. These were some of the comments on social media. Elliot made headlines earlier this year after a video of him being resurrected at Alph Lukau Ministries International Church emerged. In the video, a woman shouted, "Pastor Alph, something is happening outside. There is a family that is about to bring a corpse to Zimbabwe, but they are saying something is happening, man of God." As the funeral parlor drove over the church door, their neighbor said it seemed like the fingers of this dead corpse were beginning to move, she added. The pastor went outside, then asked the workers to take the coffin out of the hearse. He asked the workers to open the coffin. He spoke to the deceased's older brother before the coffin was completely taken out of the hearse. According to the deceased's landlord, the man had gotten sick and started coughing a lot on Friday. "We took him to the hospital and they said they could not help him because he did not have papers, so we took him to the doctor and he died there," she claimed. The family then took the body to the mortuary, where it was kept until Sunday. Pastor Alph then asked the congregants to lift their hands and start praying. "Rise up!" he shouted, before the man got up and sat in the coffin, looking confused, like a modern-day Lazarus. In an episode of Subcactuality show Cutting Edge last month, allegations of fraud and deception emerged against the miracles industry in South Africa, particularly those involving Lukau. Luke and his lawyers have claimed that Elliot had been totally unknown to Lukau prior to the miracle, though some individuals Cutting Edge interviewed allege this was unlikely and that the man's family was apparently known to have worked with the church prior to Elliot's resurrection. The church allegedly preys on and recruits the poor, and immigrants in particular, with one person interviewed, Samantha Revisai, claiming she was asked to fake her HIV positive status and play along with the ruse that she had been healed after supposedly living with the disease for 3 years. She claimed the church had offered her payments of R1,500 per month to stick to the story. The church allegedly also created fraudulent medical paperwork using her name in an attempt to convince congregants that she'd gone from being HIV positive to negative. There are only 2 documented cases in human history of people with HIV being cured. Neither of them was Revisai. "I was not HIV positive. I was never positive." She claimed she hadn't even known this was going to be done on her behalf, but she'd played along anyway. Blessing Kulau claimed to have recruited people such as Revisai to be part of Lukau's miracles, with his recruits allegedly then trained to act as though they had various disabilities that could be healed, or to play along that they'd been cured of disease, including cancer. Kulau admitted he had worked as part of 3 to 4 teams to find people to allegedly take part in staged miracles. He said that, due to his strong build, he had helped to carry, with fake disabilities and had given people stage cues during services for when they should come forward to claim they'd been healed. Elliot's timber yard employer, Vincent Amoretti, repeated allegations that he had heard his employee had previously done stunts with the church. "From what I can understand, his wife, sister and aunt, work with the pastor Alph Lukau. And that's how he got in." Cutting Edge also visited Elliot's residence in Namapius, east of Pretoria, where they found a community divided about the resurrection video, with most of the individuals they found saying they were not convinced. An anonymous person who claimed to know both Elliot, apparently a father of 2, and his wife, claimed the church had tried to get her to act in a stunt for the church, doing something involving rats or snakes tucked into her clothes. These creatures were allegedly to emerge at the appropriate time during the service. Grace, one of Elliot's claimed church friends from Namapius, told the show that people agreeing to act as cripples could be paid 3,500 rand each. They don't want South Africans, they want Zimbabweans because they're untraceable. Elliot's friend Paul claimed he'd last seen the resurrected man on February 21st, a day before he allegedly died. He never died. He was also never sick. He left on Thursday, Paul said. They only act to get paid and make ends meet. Cutting Edge could find no documentation or testimony from a medical professional as evidence that Elliot had ever been officially declared dead, which would have been a necessity if his lifeless body had indeed spent 3 days in any mortuary as claimed. The King's and Queen's Funeral Service Company repeated their protestation that their hearse had been used under false pretenses. The Black Phoenix Funeral Parlor also distanced themselves from the whole affair. According to Elliot's friends, he has probably fled the country and gone back to Zimbabwe.